All right, we're just gonna start this. Let me get back to that camera. Um, do a, I don't know how quick this will be. We'll see. I'll probably start just rambling and rambling, but put the Rapidchange ATC on. Well, I started it yesterday. Ran into some issues with the SD card mounting on the SLB XT board, but solved that today. Went and got another um, micro SD, and it mounted perfectly fine. So if you do run into that issue, try to find a 8 or a 16 gig, um, and you probably won't run into any problems, but those are difficult to find as well. So anyways, mounted that today. Well, got it done today. I don't have collet nuts yet. Apparently ER16, ER16, there's an M19 and there's an M22, and that's not wrench side. So that nut is an M22. So if you order an M22 ER16 collet nut, you're going to get a 22 millimeter thread, not a 19. So careful when you order those. I might try to throw a link in the description. I ordered them off of Amazon and they're like supposedly 2 weeks out. So I don't know why the supply's so low. But anyways, we'll get back to mounting this. Watch some videos. This is on Altmill, obviously, if you see Altmill. So this mainly pertains to the Altmill. I'm sure it will cross over in some instances, when we get into the web UI for Rapidchange. But if it helps you, it helps you. If it don't, if you have an Altmill, it's definitely going to help you because the uh, the documentation is a little less than the best right now. And I know these guys, Don and them guys, are busy just cranking out products. So, and they mentioned they were going to get back to getting their stuff worked out. But from my perspective, I did it fairly easy, I would say. I had to call Don for one thing, and it was something that he didn't put in the documentation as well, which I'll show you. That's going to help you at least on the Altmill and GSender. Uh, yeah, other than that, let's get to it. Got it out of the box from the spare parts, some socket stuff. Comes with the locating disc, which you really shouldn't need if you're running off his DXF. You shouldn't even need to do that step, to be honest, and I'll go over that. Do I have my? Yeah, I do. Okay. Um, yeah, so out of the box, you get your spare parts, the bolts they give you to go to bolt it down, or if you got a 3/4 inch spoil board, they're not going to reach. They're like 50 millimeter, and you need like 75 millimeter to get down through the table and put a nut on the other side. But I did not bolt mine down. The only thing I did with mine is, and you can see it don't come off easy. There's no vertical load on this thing, but just the dowel pins. And my reasoning, and this may change down the road if I see a problem, but if they try to occupy the same space at the same time, meaning the tool changer and the spindle, something's got to give. And the spindle on this machine is not going to give. So I didn't bolt it down. Is that going to be a problem in the future? I don't know. I'm not worried about it right now. Um, I've done tool changes with it, and it doesn't even move one bit. Um, so yeah, put that if you got one ordered, you got a 3/4 inch spoil board, and you want to bolt it down, by all means, just get you a 75 millimeters. I think they're 6x1s. You could probably get a 250, a 1/4 inch in there, 1/4 20s. Yeah, metrics in the US. They don't like it. Um, oh yeah, the other thing you see here. So first thing you got to do is figure out how you're going to mount this thing, where you're going to mount it on your machine. So Mine is in, as you can see, is in the y-axis, in the y positive. My um, number one tool spot is right there, and then it goes y positive to get to the other 5. But as far as mounting goes, what you want to be aware of is on the Altmill, at least on the 4x4, you have your cross members. And for this tool changer, you have to drill through the table. So the tool goes through the hole and doesn't interfere with anything below the tool changer. And luckily, I wanted the 8, but I ordered the 6. And the 6 will fit in between the cross members in the Y, if you're going to mount it in the Y direction like I did. The 8, I do not think will fit between the cross members. Mine is like, I might, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can get another, no, there's no way you're getting another 2 sockets in there without having to get into that cross member, the aluminum cross member below the spoil board. Um, so keep that in mind. If you're going to buy an 8, you're probably going to have to mount it in the X direction along the X axis. That is it for that subject. I don't have no syllabus here to go by. I'm just kind of rambling, just the issues I went through. So that was that. 2 is if you see, I have a popsicle stick here, which is this right here, overall craftsmanship. So when that dust cover opens, and let me pull that up over here. When that dust cover opens, it folds in behind the ATC, and you won't get it. You can't get it this close to the rail without doing what I did here. And if somebody's got a 3D printer and wants to make me these arms, um, the little, I can't point to them. Anyways, the reason for the popsicle stick and the old world craftsmanship is I want the dust cover to slide up over top of here, which allows me to get it closer to that rail and take less space off the table. So um, keep that in mind if you're going to mount it on the far positive side of X or the right side of the alt mill as you're looking at it from the front. Left side shouldn't be a problem. If these arms were symmetrical, they have a recess for like a detent there, so they can only mount one way. If that detent was 180 degrees apart, you could mount these on the other side and run it opposite, where you wouldn't have to invert the flood pin, and it would open to the negative side of X in the negative direction. But right now it opens in the positive direction on X, and I mean this works fine for me. I thought about making something cool, but that just looks cool with the old world craftsmanship. So that is the other little issue I ran into. As far as mounting the ATC, he does provide a DXF in his. Once you get your machine, he'll give you a registration or activation code to go into his web UI. And in the web UI, we'll go in there and go in there, go in here. So in the web UI, when you open up your dashboard, so we're in the dashboard here, here's the DXFs that you're going to want to use. And so download these, bring it into your CAD software. Um, mine, let's see, I have this up. Yeah, let me pull this over here. Um, so this is basically my table layout. There's the cross members, which those aren't in the exact spot they're supposed to be, but so you have your mounting holes, the 4 mounting holes, and you have your 2 dowel holes. And once you do this, using the disk, you don't really need to use the disk. I mean, you just need to, you have to enter this position right here, the center of this first pocket. And there's the coordinates right there, 47, 9739, 31, 477 negative. So when you get back to the web UI and you go into your profile and also make sure you, when you go in here, is it in here you select it? No, where's that at? It's somewhere, I'll have to find it. I think when you go new, you need to select this for the Altmill, you need to select the CNC HAL motion controller. So if I was to do new, it's going to ask you which controller you use first. And make sure you do CNC HAL, not Gerbil HAL. So once you're in here, that position that you just saw on the other screen, 47,974, 31,477, that is the position you enter into here. And then the Z position is explained in, let me see here. I think this was actually auto-generated from these. Is that correct? Well, you have to select internal. Actually, I might have put these in because I think I went to here and this was his drawing is in the green and I just drew a center line here and that was the position I put in for the tool setter and it worked just fine. So yeah, I did put that position in and I just went off the DXF. Tool measure, this is your seek set feed rates. This is how it approaches the tool length setting or setter, tool length offsetter, whatever you want to call it, TLS. The seek distance, I did not. This was auto-generated. Manual position, this is the position the machine goes if it errors out. If it don't pick up a tool, or this is just the position you want it to go to. This you just put in wherever you want it to do. And these are all machine coordinates. These are not work coordinates. So these are your global machine coordinates, not your work offset coordinates. So make sure you know this. Magazine layout, obviously whatever axis you're on and whatever direction it's going from your pocket 1 to your pocket 8 or 6 or 4, whatever you got. Z move heights, again, global. This is kind of where it bounces around with. This is the other thing I want to mention. It bounces around between these are. Well, I guess no. I guess it doesn't bounce around. Why would I think that? Yeah, these are all inches, so it's not imperial. So I'm using imperial units. It's not metric, rather. Um, so yeah, that Z clearance, these were just populated already. I put in the -5, which is basically home 0 is at the top of the Z gantry. And I just went down a ½ inch from there to make it to Z clearance. This is how it moves between pocket to pocket. Tool change, this is when it goes to do the tool change. This was 78.7 was already in there. It's worked fine so far for me. The RPM was, I think, 12 or something, and he recommended to raise it up to 8 and do 3 strikes on an Altmill. They've been having issues with the nut not being quite tight enough. Tool detection. This is basically the top of my Z travel. So that's where it starts. And the target, let's see here. I think this was set from a routine you had to perform. So we'll get to that. Dust cover, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to get back to this. This is going to be, this is where it gets kind of like documentation gets a little sketchy, but profiles, let's see, that does, oh, so that's just my CNC HAL. Docs, again, like I said, they were wiring, they pretty straightforward on the wiring if you're using the SLB EXT. And this setup here worked perfectly fine for me. Um, Preferences, let's see. So this is different profiles. Yeah, so this open up, yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory here. Nothing in here that I did so far that I've had to change. Pocket positions, those are already self-populated. Um, Magazine layout, we went through that. Oh, so we already went through most of all this, yeah. All right, so that's that. Let's go back to the dashboard. Firmware, if you have the Altmill SOB EXT board, you don't have to worry about the firmware change. It already is set up for this. Post processors, if you're using Vectric, feel free to try one of these. I don't use Vectric. Printables, this is just 3D printables. If you got a 3D printer, you can print all the parts. It gives you everything you want. The H100 VFD, and I can only speak for the H100 because that's the one I have. This is pretty easy to do. I'll tell you, don't even bother going here. You just go over to the panel and scroll to, as soon as you start scrolling, you're going to get to the F00. So basically this unlocks it so you can change a parameter. So you're going to change it from 0, it's going to be 0 when you do it, and you just change it to 1. And then scroll to the F011 and change the frequency to, I think I used 20 on mine, which gives you like 600 RPM min for the VFD. And then the one thing you want to go back is F00 and put the back to 0 for the, so you lock the parameters so they can't be changed. So that wasn't explained in there. Workflow, let's see here. All positional values in the web UI must be in machine coordinates. We explained that. Worksheet when the SLB is powered up until MDI, M61. This is all self-explanatory. Once you get it all set up, you use the M61Q2 or to set the tool in the GSender. Obviously, you're going to have to measure the tool. That's all self-explanatory. If you run a CNC machine, you know the tool's got to be measured. SD card support. Again, with the Altmill, it's pretty much already set up that way. As he says here, the Altmill doesn't need it because it's out of the box is set up for it. GSender, yep, I use these settings. Ignore on the tool change and pass through. Turn on pass through and ignore. It's interesting. I don't think I have it set that way. But I haven't done a program actually, so I probably need to turn that on. Report in inches. This is, yeah, 13. Just turn that off. Really has no bearing. It doesn't do anything to your UI. You still, if you're running inches in GSender, you're still going to see inches. This is just for how it reports to the MDI. Workspace inches. That's whatever one you're going to work there. That doesn't matter. Invert probe him. So this is where I got stuck or had an issue and I had to call him. So inverts the probe input signal. Let's go into GSender and do this. So go to config, just type in invert, and you'll come down. So in his documentation, as you can see here, invert probe pin needs to be on. And as well, which is not here, is invert TLS input, which has to be on as well. This is where I ran into the issue. So add that to your list of instructions there, at least for the Altmill. Invert coolant pins, do that for the flood pin, and then output the debug messages, which will show up in the MDR or the console. So you can turn that on. Yeah, other than that, the input TLS one, you're going to want to make sure that is done. That's really the only place I got stuck. Other than that, it was good. So we'll go back to our profile here. So when you get into this section, so after you set all your settings, you're going to get it's calculating all the macros you need. And the first time you're going to want to export. And so you just click export. It's going to pop up. Where do you want to export them to? Let's see. I think I made a folder here. We'll just do it for a demo. Macros. So there's nothing in here. So I'll select folder. I don't know what this is, but you can read it and figure it out. Save changes, generate some macros. Now, ideally, you're going to want to do this to your SD card, not your desktop. You can do it to your desktop too, but you got to eventually get it on your SD card. So if we go into the files, we go to the desktop, we open the macros, and then you can see the macros all populated in here. So um, the one thing he does do on this 231 macro, so this is everything that's got to be on the SD card. So after you fill out the web UI, all your information you fill out, these will be the macros it creates, these 6 macros. And um, the one thing he does do, I think on the, I think tool measure, it's factory set to be disabled. And then once you test out that it's changing the tool find and everything, you can enable it and then, run through that test of that. That's up to you. If you don't, if you're just setting it up and changing tools, verifying it changes tools, every time it changes the tool, it's going to want to go do a tool measure. So um, I would recommend disabling it. It is disabled by default. And I think it even says in here that, um, oh, I don't know where it says it, but it says leave it off. I think it's up here. Leave it disabled until you get done testing that the tool changer is working fine. Otherwise, it's measuring the tool every time. So back down here, these won't output. This will be something I'm going to use probably, and maybe I'll do a video on it. I have an auto dust boot, which is controlled by my A-axis, so it's actually on a driver, so I can park it anywhere I want. And I may use these. These are also available inside of GSender as well, so I have to play with that as well. Once you uh, export this to your SD card, have your control, turn your machine off, your controller, insert the SD card, turn the machine on. And if you want to know if it's docked, they say you can use $F, but that didn't work for me. I just used G65P203. If it shows you the tool, then you're definitely docked or mounted in the SD card slot and it's recognizing it. Um, Other than that, once they're in there, they're pretty reliable. You don't have to change anything on them, and obviously unless you move your um, tool changer itself. Uh, don't know. So yeah, this is, I had trouble mounting my SD card, so I ended up getting another micro SD and it worked fine. So this will be your first export. You just export everything that you just set up here. Once you get and verify that your tool changer is working, you can go turn your tool measure back on and re-output the whole file, or if you want to just output the 231, that's the only one that's going to change, and put that on the SD card. Um, Other than that, it went pretty smooth. I don't, said this was all, said the documentation was a little, eh, but it was all there. It just had to jump around a little bit to find it all. But what it doesn't tell you is once you get all this set, okay, now you have to export it. Now you have to put the card in. This is for an alt mill. If you have a different machine, it's going to be different for you. But export it, put it on the SD card, mount it, and once they're in there, just run a G65 P203. If it shows you the tool that's in the spindle, then you know you're mounted and it's good to go. Uh, yeah, other than that, it went pretty decent, I would say. I don't think, like I said, I don't think I'm going to mount it. I think I'm just going to leave it on the dowel pins. If there's not any kind of vertical force where it would try to pick it up off the dowel pins, at least that I haven't found yet. Famous last words. Um, yeah, I mean, I'll run it through. I only have one collet, so I mean, it's just going to fault out here when I run it, um, which is what it's supposed to do. So if we go into carve here and we go to the console, and if we type in G65P203, not 2003, let me bring up the screen here. G65P203 down there in the MDI console, whatever you want to call it. You click run, it tells me your current tool is number 2. So we want to change to tool number 1. It's going to go M6 T1. And let me switch screens here so you get to see it. And we'll hit run. Drops the tool out, goes over, grabs the tool that's not there, and it's going to recognize that it did not pick up a tool, and it's going to go to a park position, and it's going to show you an error message that looks like this. Failed zone 1, manually load tool 1, and cycle start to continue. And as you can see here, the machine is still in a cycle. It's just kind of in a pause state or hold state. So you got to click stop here. But yeah, other than that, I'll do one more since now there's no tool in the spindle. We'll go in here and we'll go, this is where you have to go. We'll see, it's going to say tool 2 is still in the spindle. So P203, hit enter. So it says tool 2. Now we need to make it tool 1 so it'll go grab tool 2. So we go M61Q1. So we're telling it tool 1 is in the spindle. So it says okay. If we run G65 P203 again, it's going to tell us tool 1 is in the spindle. So now we can run M6T2, and now it's going to grab the tool and do the tool change, or in the TLS. So let me switch back over to the machine. Actually, do both, right? Yeah, we can do both. No, we'll do full screen so you can see it happen. So we'll click run on that. So it's going to go drop off tool 1. There's no tool. We'll go grab tool 2. So it's got tool 2. Make sure the nut's on there. And now, mind you, I haven't set these feed rates on this yet. This machine moves so fast, you got to be careful. But so it sets the tool, and it's all set. And we'll go back to the main screen here. It set the tool length offset. Now I've changed this tool out about 10 times messing around, and this has been dead on every time. That tool, that TLS that comes with this thing has been dead on every time I've changed it. It's been 5.153. So it's measuring it exact every time with so far within a thou. But yeah, I think let's see. I think I covered everything I needed to cover on that. Let me go back here and make sure. Documentation, like I said, you go to your CNC Hal for the Altmill, and this just goes through everything we went through on that screen. And just so everybody knows, if you're thinking about a Rapidchange ATC, I want to let you know something here. There's this one line. In fact, our customers have never paid for replacement parts of any type, including sockets, servos, PCBs, even housings and covers, even when the damage is the user error. So this is how confident they are in their product. So, I mean, by no means just, go try to occupy the same space at the same time with your spindle and your tool changer, because you'll be down for a while. But yeah, this is it's just gonna be, I can't wait to use it. I need my nuts. Where's my nuts? Um, but yeah, that's, hopefully I covered that quick enough. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. Like I said, I had one little issue with that setting in GSender, and he solved it. I mean, I sent him a DM on his Discord, and he was back to me within like a minute and a half, and gave me his phone number. I called him, and he had it figured out in 30 seconds. But like I said, that's not in here yet. I'm sure he will take care of that. And remember, one thing I do want to add is I am using 1.5.1, which I'm sure you saw if you were watching if you saw the GSender screen. And he does say that they have not proven it out completely in 1.5, the 1.5 release. So so far it's worked fine for me. I just had that one issue. So if you're in 1.4.12, you may not see that button. It may not be there. I don't remember. I haven't used 14.12 in a couple months, but or a month and a half, whenever. But I didn't have this either, where I even would look for that setting. So it may not be in 14.12. So what I'm telling you is strictly to 1.5.1. If it is in 14.12, you'll see it. Um, Other than that, like I said, it went pretty smooth. The macros are completely reliable. I had no issues. Just get your numbers in there correctly. Um, and yeah, if you got to use the disk to locate, pocket one, use the disk. But if you drill the two dowel holes and you got the DXF, you shouldn't need the disk. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it for this. Like I said, if you have any questions on it, or if you're like on the fence about buying this thing, yeah, it's like I said, lifetime warranty. You don't care if you're the one that mucks it up. They stand behind it. So, uh, yeah, let me know in the comments if this helps you out. If you got a question, said mine's all strictly to the Altmill. Some of the stuff will cross over to the other machines, I'm sure. But yeah, all right. I think that's pretty much it. Uh, yeah, no, that's definitely it. Yeah, have a good night. Let me know if you in the comments. Let me know if you need any help with anything. Have a good night.